Good morning. It is Wednesday, and it's time for a bit of D&D talk. Today, I apologize to all the players out there, but I'm going to focus in on something for the Dungeon Masters. I figure most players are Dungeon Masters at one point or another, so I hope I don't lose too many of you. But I want to talk about dungeon design. Something that came up in the Tuesday game that I was playing in last night, and which, after talking to the person who runs that game, in this case was intentional, which I will touch on. But I want to talk about design of a dungeon to prevent bypassing. Now, in this particular case, it was D&D. We discovered a very unusual ship, Spelljammer, by the way, if you're not following any of my other discussions that I've had. So we find this unusual ship while we're floating in space. We start to explore it. We eventually start to realize that this is a technology-based ship rather than a magic-based ship. We eventually realize it's a very large ship, and we eventually realize that these odd boxes with the numbers on the end of them, on the inside of them rather, transport you from different areas of the ship to others. Now, this is the problem that you have sometimes with a dungeon, if you actually want your players to play through it. If you have a 10-level dungeon, and this does not have to be only on a technology-based thing, this could be a mine that has a bucket that can be lowered down to different levels. It could be anything really that has any kind of it could be a wizard's tower that has a levitating platform. Anything that allows you to move freely between the levels. Because you have to understand that player preference is going to be they're either going to go to the very top, or if they're not starting out on the very bottom, they may choose to go to the very bottom. They are almost never going to say, hey, let's go to level 7 in between. It just isn't going to happen unless you force it. Now, how do you force that? Well, giving the example of a dungeon that I've designed, I have an elevator. We start out on level 1. Elevator goes to downwards to level 10. Seems fairly straightforward. But on level 1, the players realize that the metal box is not working. They press the buttons and it does nothing. There are no lights. There are no indications that anything is happening. If any of them are technically inclined, they look at it and they realize, there's no power source. Okay. They continue exploring the level. They find stairs down to level 2. They head down to level 2. Now, at this point, they could skip level 2 because there's also stairs that lead down to level 3. But when they get to level 3, they're going to find that the stairway is collapsed. So, they have access to level 1, 2, or 3 by the stairs. What you need to do now is somewhere on level 2 or 3, and you don't give any indication on which to cause them to explore, you have the power source for the elevator. So your players explore level 2 and 3 to get the power source for the elevator, to go back up to level 1, to plug the power source into the elevator, at which point they can then go down past level 3 to levels 4 through 10. Now, what you do is you then have an access block that says the elevator cannot go to level 10 unless you have a security card in it. That security card is going to be hidden somewhere on level 5 or 6, probably. And the players then have to go search through these other 4 levels, or these other 5 levels, in order to try to find the card to put into the lift to get down to level 10, which is where they actually want to go. Now, what you've done here is you have forced the players to explore the entire dungeon simply by controlling their access. It seems straightforward, but I know a lot of DMs fail to do it. Now, in last night's case, we were actually supposed to bypass the dungeon, and the idea was that we would get extra things if we explored, but it wasn't integral to the story. If that's the case, give them the option to bypass, and give them some cool loot if they don't. It's a bonus then. But there you have it. Control access to the dungeon. Make sure the players don't bypass your dungeon. I'm going to leave it at there because my voice is still a bit sore this morning. So have a great day. Like, subscribe. I'll be back with something else for you tomorrow. Have a great day.